Peace. Little quick video I'm going to do. A couple emails that I received about path clearing work. All right, which to me obviously is extremely important because we're always trying to work and improve ourselves. Correct. The objective is to have our paths where we can grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and let's not remove from that equation financially. If you are on this path, you don't just have to do road clearing work just when there's obstructions or problems. I always liken it to doing like maintenance on a car. You should be doing road opening work to clear those paths or keep them clear consistently. So before I get into that, real quick, just to put it out there, so I don't have to do it at the end of the video. I know a lot of you just have contacted me for consultations. I'm in the flow right now from yesterday to today, on and off. I do need at least 2 hours, 2 days. It's rare. I know some of you have asked, can you squeeze one in here and there? I do it if I can, once in a while, at random, last minute. It's possible, but I'm going to pretty much say at the moment, right now at the shooting of this video, that's going to be kind of tough right now. So we're looking 2 days. At least give me 2 days. So if you contact me, what I mean by 48 hours is from the day you contact me. All right, just want to make that clear. You can email me at the email in the description box, khnum19 at gmail.com. If you're interested in a spiritual consultation, reading, or the upcoming spring session of classes, we only have one more session next week for the session for this current session that we're in now. We have one more week after this. Then we will convene, and next session will start up at the end of March. Also, I've sent out the flyer and event for the ritual on January 25th, a PEP, the Adversary of Chaos and Darkness. That'll be Friday, January 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can hit me up at the email khnum19 at gmail.com for further information. All right, so road clearing work. Again, I want to stress, you shouldn't just have to do that when you have obstructions or problems. You should be I always consistently have work in play to keep paths open. I've mentioned this many times before, whether you're dealing with gateway deities, whether you're dealing with road opener deities, they work excellent for that. I've mentioned in the past Papa Legba. I talked about Ampu, Sekhmet, Kali. Kali, in my opinion, is very intense, and that energy and change comes quick. And then, of course, one that I love to work with on a regular basis that I find to get great results. You see her back there. The great black mother goddess of death herself, who's no joke, the Holy Death, who some might know as Santissima Muerte. That's the one I'm consistently with on a daily basis. But you pick and choose, again, what energy you vibrate and resonate with. But I will say the Holy Death and Kali are similar in their intensity. They're very similar how they come and as far as the rapidness of the results. I would caution you with Kali. One great method of using with Kali, I've mentioned the book Kali Mantra Magic by Bal Cadman. There's many books out there you can get on Kali, giving you an idea on how to do rituals. Mantra and chanting, I find with road opener deities, because remember, when you're chanting or meditating, you're altering your state of consciousness, literally. You could even liken it to, for an example, even on surface level religions such as Christianity or Catholicism, Gregorian chant music, that, especially in that faith or religion, alters the person's mind state and puts them in a certain transcendental state of concentration / meditation too, and it locks them in. You literally are contacting, for lack of a better word, the unseen world, they'll say in certain circles, or the spiritual plane, etc. And that's done by way of the sound, the vibrations, the frequencies, and the tones coming from the chanting or the slash mantras. I found that to be a very effective method to use when doing road clearing work in addition to the ritualistic work you might be doing, working with candle magic or invocations. That's, however you see fit. I'm just trying to throw some ideas. But when you got aspects of yourself that you're struggling with, again, it could be finances, or maybe you're trying to improve your job or career. Maybe you're looking to go a different direction, or maybe you're in the midst of battling for a promotion, let's say. I'm just giving some examples. Maybe you have relationships you need to repair, not just love relationships. Obviously, that's usually a key factor, keeping them in harmony with significant others and loved ones. Maybe it's family relationships that need repairing. It could be friendships that might need repairing and healing. All of these things are critical and important to identify as obstructions because they create trauma on the psyche and the subconscious mind. They can create areas where you struggle, have lack of focus. It can affect your magic as far as doing your work because you have a lot of these issues and blockages that are left unattended. And sweeping them to the side and putting them in the back of your mind, or in hopes that they're going to disappear and go away, that's just not a reality. That's not going to happen. Trust me when I tell you. It will not happen. One of the key components of being on this path, being an adept of the black arts, a black magician, left-hand path, all these terms which simply are just terms describing the path to self-mastery, is all about working on yourself, improving yourself. That is your goal and objective of being on this path. Never lose sight of that, to become the master that you naturally are. When we talk about the personal daemon or the higher self, that's just something that's naturally ingrained and embedded in you. That's why you hear the term demonic integration, right? What you're really trying to do is integrate the real self, and we'll connect with the real self that's always there. It's not, again, we have to keep locked in our mind. This is not something we contact, connect, or work with outside of ourselves. It's just something we need to activate. We lost the power to connect with it. I found that when you are really working with your personal daemon and have activated that higher self, and I should say, when I say activate, so we're clear, the awareness of it, where you're not under that system of indoctrinations and illusion, and you're not confused as to what's going on around you, or you're not aware, or as the conscious people say, woke, right? You'll find it's easier to clear your roads and your paths, because one thing, for those that have worked with me over the years, and a lot of the work that I do, be it classes or with clients, that's the core foundation, demonic integration. If you're not connected with the higher self, I found it's a factual thing. It's evidence smack in front of your face. I found that people struggle as far as getting consistent results, because activating your personal daemon and understanding who and what you really are makes the work a little simpler. Simpler in the sense because you, by way of the awareness, you find it's easier to attack situations that need correcting. It's easier to work on those paths that are blocked. Whereas sometimes you have that extra struggle when you're not linked in or connected. You know there's something wrong per se, and some people experience this on a regular basis, but they can't quite put their hand on it or identify it. So the personal daemon, when that is free flowing through your DNA, when that is free flowing through you consistently, or as I like to use the term, you're tapped in, you're linked in now. The energy is flowing. That awareness is what keeps you sharp. Now, when that energy is obstructed, that's when the paths become blocked. What do I mean by that? When the energy is obstructed, when you're taking in levels of information or indoctrination, it could be not understanding. Let's not negate the physical too, because sometimes we negate the physical as if it's not as important. Also, get to know your body physically. Get to understand, and again, when I say diet and foods, and I don't want to get into that shit now because that's I've done stuff on that in the past. I'll revisit it when the time necessary. But basic fundamentals of a decent diet. You don't need to be a vegetarian, because like I say, not knocking anybody as a vegetarian, but that's become kind of religious, dietary, and vegan. Now, if you're a vegan, power to you. I'm not saying don't be a vegan, do eat meat, don't eat meat, but it's just common sense with a sensible diet. This can affect and obstruct your paths if you're not getting regular exercise and you're not having a conducive diet that's productive for you. Okay, that could be again, watching your intake of sodium and sugars and artificial preservatives, because as I said before, that can cloud your thinking. It can block you receiving your spiritual messages as far as connecting with your personal daemon, because all of those things obstruct the thought process. It can affect your concentration. You know how many people I get emails from and say that they struggle trying to learn the art of meditation? It's just no matter what they do, they can't sustain a consistent level of meditation. The reason for that is first, you want to check the physical things. We like to go, as I say, spook and go spiritual right off the gate, like there's something spiritual, and I find 9 out of 10 times it usually isn't something spiritual at first. So you want to do the basic things first. Check your diet. Are you exercising right? Maybe it's the food you're eating, because if you're somebody that's intaking a lot of artificial sugars, white flours, salt, sodium, that's definitely going to affect the way you think. Now, I want to make this clear. That's why I say it can become religious. It doesn't mean you can't eat and indulge in certain things that we know may not be the greatest for you, be it sweets, desserts, or some delicacies of foods that might be high in content fat. Right? It just means don't indulge in them all the time. I say that all the time. Some people get fanatical with diets, but I've found a lot of physical components, be it stress, your actual personal environment, could be your home life. A lot of these things affect your spiritual work and create these blockages. So sometimes we're bypassing what's smack in front of us. We're not looking at what's right smack in front of us, and we like to bypass all that and go to Spookville. And most people like to think of some deep, heavy spiritual thing at play here. And I found out 9 out of 10 times that that's not the case. Now, sometimes it is, but you only start exploring that route if you've done, your groundwork and checked the main immediate things around you. So doing road work, I would say, one, in addition to working with those road opening archetypes or energies, the aforementioned, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Kali in a minute. Again, I'm not going to be able to do this too long, about 20, 30 minutes. Demonic integration is very important, because when we say demonic integration, as I've said in many videos over the last couple of years, the spelling D-A-E-M-O-N, daemon, is just the Greek term that the Greeks use for their higher self. We like to call it that inner being, that voice that gives us intuition, that God that lies, or goddess that lies dormant within us. That's your personal daemon. It's that simple. So it's always there. It's never gone anywhere. It's always been embedded within you, point blank. But we've lost sight of connecting with it, and our focus is everywhere else, mainly externally outside of ourselves. So we lose sight of it. We're looking for answers and solutions to all of these external things. Now, as you know, I talk about a lot of different magical systems. I don't care if it's voodoo, hoodoo. I don't care if it's Luciferianism, vampirism, necromancy, reverence of the ancestors. When you understand that really, in essence, all of those systems really connect, quote unquote, with this higher self to really get the benefits of it. Now, on the surface, some of those systems are practiced from an external aspect. Some people literally, like religious folks do, they're worshiping their ancestors externally. You can't worship something that's connected to you by blood. You are them, they are you. So how do you worship something that you are? You understand? But using this external methodology to connect, it doesn't work. Now, I also want to make this clear, because some people get confused by this, and I talk about this, and this has been coming up a lot lately. Not that first Hermetic principle, all is mental, mental is all. People still don't know how to put into perspective a personal spiritual experience they have, as opposed to understanding that concept that the universe is mental, all is mental, mental is all. And I want to say this again, I've made this clear, I think, a couple videos back, but I still think people struggle with understanding and grasping this concept. What am I talking about? All right, people will say, I've done a ritualistic work with Sekhmet. And in that work I did with Sekhmet, I had this experience. I saw this image of Sekhmet manifest before me. I received a message and a communication in this work that I did, and it spoke to me. That's a beautiful thing, okay? It's a subjective experience, that was manifested and created by your subconscious mind or your subjective realm. Beautiful thing. So people say, but isn't that something that's happening outside of myself? And I want to make this clear. Yes and no. You are manifesting it because the point of origin is in the subconscious mind. All is mental. Mental is all. The universe is mental. How do you know that to be a fact? Because think about this for a minute. If you never saw any images of Sekhmet, if you never read anything about Sekhmet, would that still manifest and become a reality? Ask yourself that question. You would have to say no. So when you're brought to the awareness of something, then the subjective aspect of your mind or consciousness starts to put form, shape, and image to it. Even if it's Kali, you start reading about Kali. You start seeing pictures and images of Kali. You start studying about what Kali represents. So now the mind goes to play at creating who and what Kali is. Because another point to confirm that, you can talk to everybody that's done work with Kali, and not everybody is going to physically see an image of Kali that's identically the same. Because what you have fed the subconscious mind is how you see these images. It's that simple. So even though it's creating this concept of an experience that appears to be taking place outside of yourself, in essence it's really not. Because you have created it and the point of origin is in the subconscious mind by way of things you've been taught. And not just by others, but what you've taught yourself. So that's why when we working with archetypes and the images of particular archetypes, we are, whether we're conscious of not, we're creating it. We're giving it life. We're giving it form. We're bringing it into existence. That's the reality. So you must understand that when working with those principles, number one, and how you approach spiritual work when you're working with deity. This is important too. And I know this went a little bit to the right on the topic. That's important to understand because when you're doing road opening work, especially let's say with the Holy Death, all right, and the last ritual that we did down here, which some of you probably saw the clip of it, we connected with the goddess of the underworld, the Aztec roots or the Native American roots of the Holy Death, when you trace it back to the Aztecs in mind. So you must get a clear, defined concept in your mind of how you're going to work with it. Because once that concept is clear, it starts to communicate messages to the subconscious mind. You'll be able to activate the energy that's associated with it. By enforcing your will and activating that energy is what starts to clear the paths. For an example, if the image and the concept is clear in the mind and you're doing mantras or chants, it starts to open those roads up. You could sometimes at the very moment you're doing it, feel a certain surge of energy. You know, some might describe it as, the chakras or the kundalini rising and being activated. Certain states of awareness, right, start to get heightened. This is how you know you're locked in. This is how you know you're tapped in. But it's very important for you to understand and grasp that. Now I'm going to back up to what I was talking about earlier with demonic integration. What creates that awareness or that being tapped in on a certain level is doing that core work via demonic integration. I can't stress that enough. Because I keep telling people, if you're an individual that's, you got individuals in a lot of categories. For an example, let me give you an example. You got some that really struggle on a regular basis as far as getting results with their magic. All right. 2, you got people that go through periods where they have, periods where they're doing, wonderful and fantastic and all that good shit. Things are going great. But then it's always followed up immediately by a real long, rough period, right? Then you have people, via that they don't really put the effort and energy in. Therefore, they don't really get the results that they're capable of getting. All right. There's other categories, but I'm trying to give you these are some of the main things people struggle with. Then you have the individual who is consistent, right? It don't mean when you're practicing magic in the path of self-mastery, you're not going to have any problems. That's complete bullshit. It don't mean you're not going to struggle. It don't mean there's always going to be things that arise in your life that you're going to have to address and deal with. That is a fact. But when you are consistent and you are locked in with your personal daemon, your higher self, you again are equipped with the tools necessary to attack those situations and clear those paths and get that energy flowing correctly again, where you don't spend those long period of times getting shut down with blockages and other issues. You'll find the consistent practitioner can always kind of even sense beforehand when shit is coming over the horizon. When that apep or chaos is coming over the horizon, you can kind of sense that. You understand? And when you're able to sense it by way of that awareness, by your personal daemon, you're able to fight it and address it, which is symbolic of Set, right? Who understands and looks at himself as a manifestation of apep or chaos, but is able to destroy those things to make them anew and remanifest them for his benefit. That's what that symbolic story deals with. And that's why I went over all that Aquaman stuff in a few videos. I know a lot of you just sent emails about that video, appreciating the breakdown of that video. I enjoyed doing that video, actually, because when you incorporate the entertainment elements of movie and cinema, that's like a fun thing to do. And I'll try to do a little bit more of that when there's movies that come on the horizon that deal with that. And that, The Clock in the Walls, The House with the Clock in the Walls, those movies, kind of spark that, which is a good thing. But that's what all that connects with, and that's what all that is related to. You got to be one of the individuals that seek to be consistent in your work. Because anybody sits there and tells you they got it all figured out, they're full of shit. Anybody sits there and tells you, even the seasoned adept, anyone that sits there and tells you they don't ever have any problems, that they've got it, they're super master guru this, super master that, that's a bunch of bullshit. Trust me when I tell you. There will always be shit you're going to deal with. But when you're on this path and you're consistent in your work, you will find out it is a lot more easier to deal with. It's a lot more easier to conquer, overcome, and be victorious. Because remember, you are the one that's creating the chaos anyway, by way of your choices, the decisions you make, the circles you put yourself in, the choices that you make, etc. All of these things are a manifestation from you anyway. That's why we say on this path, we don't blame anybody for our failures and we don't give anybody credit for our successes. Do you understand that? So it's important to understand that when you're bringing up the concept of road blockages, you want to first say to myself, am I doing the core work of demonic integration? Am I in tune? Am I now letting the personal daemon, my real self or higher self, take over? Am I tapping into what's naturally there? If maybe I'm lacking in that area of work and it's affecting these roads and these blockages, because I find the person that's not rooted in their demonic integration work subconsciously is really still looking for external sources or external solutions to shit that they're dealing with. I find that to be an issue that they're not even conscious of on the circle. Because if you do work with me via, let's say it's a consultation, you know the process I use and I go through to get to the core of certain situations and scenarios. And again, it's not that I'm going to do it for you and fix it for you, but I'm going to bring you to the awareness, one, not that you don't know it, it's always there, but bring you to the reawakening that awareness, get it activated again. And once that's activated again, you'll be able to do what you need to do to get it right. It's that simple. So a lot of this really is focused on, remember, as I said before, in videos over the years, you're not being taught anything new. All the stuff that I'm talking about, all the stuff all these people are talking about in all these spiritual and conscious circles and lectures and on YouTube and social media, it's not that it's new. It's only new and sounds deep and heavy to people that have never heard it before. Do you understand? Sometimes you hear information and it clicks and you go, oh yeah, you get that, someone called that aha moment, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's part of your DNA waking up. When that happens, some will call it in metaphysics and alchemy a DNA explosion, right? You might be reading a book and you get those chills and goosebumps because a concept is like that moment, that aha moment. It just clicks and you get all these little explosions that go off in your mind, right? That's you confirming the realization of what real truth is to you, right? That's you connecting in on a level where that awareness, quote unquote, is being awakened. Well, your objective via the demonic integration is to be in that state as consistently as you can. Because it's so easy to get sidetracked with just everyday life's bullshit. Because you could be in a deep period of intense study and meditation. Once that's complete and you start to go about your business and deal with everyday life, man, shit can come at you, in a flash. All types of issues, problems, bullshit you deal with in the world. So one of the key aspects of an adept, that they have to come up with a solution, a plan, a formula that works for their life. Or as we say, creating your own path of self-mastery. Because everybody's life is different. Everybody's got, unique personal and work, family lives. And you got to figure out, how can I bring that all together with my spiritual life? Because one of the big things you'll find in this day and time, which is not like years ago, because, the workforce, with everything being available immediately, with businesses and staying open, wee hours, late, everything is 24 hours, 7 days, instant gratification. Well, the world has changed, and one complaint I always hear all the time: people ain't got enough time to do anything, especially when it taps in to their spiritual work. Well, I just ain't got the time. Well, then you need to look at how can you adjust your life to make the money you need to make to create that time. Because if you don't create time for yourself, that's going to be a big issue down the road. And granted, I know all the excuses. Look, I got the t-shirt. I know what it's like to raise kids. I know what it's like to work long hours. I know what it's like to have bills piled up, paying a mortgage. Shit, as I sit here and talk to you, outside of the house that I live in, I'm renting 3 properties out. So that in itself is challenging, keeping up with the maintenance and, keeping good tenants. I get it. Whether you're self-employed, running more than one business, working for a major company, or maybe you're working a grueling retail job that's demanding, and retail is probably one of the most toughest professions. The hospitality and retail industry is tough, because it's not like back then where things shut down for the most part at a certain time. Now you got business, restaurants are staying open to wee hours of the morning. Retail, the big retail giants, they're open late. Sometimes I get it. You don't have that consistent schedule. You don't have set days off. But you know what? Excuses are the excuses are the tools of incompetence, right? That's what my mother used to always say. I used to always say excuses are like assholes. Everybody got one, right? I get it, and I'm not negating that. And those are challenges, and those are obstacles, and those are issues. I'm bringing that up because that's why some people's paths are blocked, because it blocks them from being consistent in their work. So I'm saying I get all that, but one thing I've said many times in videos: managing your time is magic in itself. And I want to say this: I'm speaking in those perspectives because I've been there before. I'm not saying, you can't say, well, Brother Benito, you're talking about, but you're not in that situation now. No, I'm not in that situation now. But I've been in that situation in the past for many years. And I got to the point where I said, I don't want to do this shit no more. I need to create a lifestyle and create a schedule that's going to be conducive to me. That's how I've been able to grow, because I've been able to give myself the necessary time, energy, and to put the work in. And you got to make smart, wise decisions, though, especially if you got a family, you got kids. Don't go to Spookville and say, I just want to be spiritual and I don't want to work anymore and I'm going to rely on the spirits to pay my fucking bills. Well, I can tell you, you're going to be out on the street quick. So I'm saying that to say, make smart, wise decisions, and always factor in, if you have a family, you got kids, make sure you're factoring that into your decisions. All right. So let's not lose sight of common sense. Very important. Let's not lose sight of that. It's very important to be grounded. Being connected and grounded in your root chakra, your common sense will always kick in when need be. All right. So these are all the different things I want people to consider when you talk about doing road clearing work. Consider demonic integration as an important, a very important aspect of doing of doing road clearing work. All right. So I want you to kind of factor those things in, think about them. And as I said, what I'm going to be doing moving forward, as you see I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, I'll do these little videos in between addressing emails. It's a lot easier than sitting down and typing and responding to emails, unless it's something that needs personal address in private. That's different. But for the most part, if you're a subscriber to the channel, stay subscribed. If you send me an email, look for me to start answering some of your questions and emails. It's a lot easier, it's a lot quicker, and I can address sometimes multiple people in one particular video. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to it. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification. That will give you notification when new videos or live videos post. Hit the like button. That always helps. It's a beautiful thing. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't, hit the unlike button and just don't watch the channel. That's all I can tell you. Really not interested if you have a personal dislike. That's personal. But anyway, so do that too. And for any of the things you need to contact me that I mentioned, spiritual consultations or readings, online classes, or if you have an event you would like to set up in your area. I know some of you that contact me. We got a few of them we're looking to do in the upcoming months. Feel free to contact me for any of those things. And I know some of you did respond. I know somebody sent me a email about some statues. I did get back to you on that. If you're looking for altar supplies, that's one of the main things that I specialize in. When I mean altar supplies, some of the stuff you see behind me, if you can see it in the video, and that's short. Daggers, chalices, ankhs, altar ankhs, statues in a particular pantheon. It could be Dravidian, it could be ancient Egyptian. Any altar tiles, like your pentagrams that go on your altar, certain ritualistic oils for particular rituals. It could also be incense. I only really deal with, as far as incense, ritualistic incense, none of that cheap stick stuff. That stuff that's kind of regular shit you can get on your own. You can burn. I'm talking about like resins and resins, rocks, stuff you burn on the charcoal. I'm only really focused on dealing with this with ritualistic incense, all right? Good quality kind, all right? But other than that, for any of those things, you can contact me at khnum19@gmail.com. That's in the description box of all the videos. So hopefully this little short video was helpful in addressing road clearing work and demonic integration, all right? Hopefully it pushes you in the right direction. So before you go out to Spookville trying to figure out what's wrong and what's going on, let's maybe do a self-check on the immediate things, all right? So hopefully this video helped. Peace. Look to be maybe later or tomorrow. I will be doing that second part to the teachings of the Nation of Gods and Earths, the 5% Nation Part 2, the occult meaning and breakdown. I got a lot of good responses on that, even from some 5%ers. And again, though I know all the 5%ers are not going to agree with that video, I make that clear, and that's fine. But I'm not doing it from that perspective. And like I said, I have the utmost respect for Father-in-Law, for the 5% Nation. And the video is not done in the fashion to attack and get ignorant. It's to look at more esoterical meaning from an occult perspective. And as I said, those lessons can be very, very utilizable and productive on this path. So anyway, I'll be looking forward to do that in the next day or two. So we will talk soon, everybody. Peace.